Hey, welcome to the Integrate This EdTech podcast. I'm Jeremy Mikla, and you will see I'm joined by our guest, actually a repeat guest now on the podcast,
that's right.
Carl Hooker, author, podcaster, former bar owner,
Conference crawler.
Conference caller. You know what? Conference crawler Carl.
It's easy to say.
Yeah,
No, it's hard to
a
say.
little tongue twister kind of a thing. What's that about?
So for those of you that know the book series Dungeon Crawler Carl, I'll just say this. The characters named Carl are not usually displayed very well. If you go back in the history of time, Caddyshack is Carl Spangler.
Yeah.
You know, and then you think of Sling Blade Carl. I mean, the best Carl is honestly the Up dude, the guy in that movie Up, the old guy that played, but he kidnapped a Boy Scout. So anyway, so I was like, okay, this book series, I got to get into it. And so I just fell in love with it. I'm listening to the audiobook series, but it is incredible. And it's funny walking around the show, it's like a weird cult thing because people are walking around going, oh my God, I know, what book are you on? You know, like I'm on book 5. But anyway, so it's fun. It's a fun, very post-apocalyptic series, but not really educational. But
and it's really appropriate because we are at a conference right now.
Right.
We're at the ISTE conference here.
Yeah.
So Carl, I know I've seen you here at this conference several different times. Do you know what number ISTE conference is this for you?
I want to say it's at least the 12th. For the longest time, I only went on odd years, which I know is kind of odd.
Yeah.
But because I was like, if you go every year, I feel like you get burned out on it a little bit. But I've actually now, I'm 5 in a row. Okay. I was going to take this year off, to be candid, but I had some things kind of fall in place. And I was like, I'll be in the area anyway. So I ended up coming in for a couple of days. And then next year it's at Boston, which is exciting. So I'll go to that one. But yeah, this is, I think the first time I went, it was called NEC, N-E-C-C, remember?
Well, I wasn't there then, but
you guys are young.
I heard it, and we had Greg Begbie talked about that too as well.
Love Greg. Yeah. Chattanooga Greg. He's a great Uber driver. I give him 5 stars every time.
Oh, really?
He's not really an Uber driver, but he's picked me up like 4 times at the airport for some random reason, and so I always joke that he's my Uber driver. He's not. He's amazing, but yeah.
Well, what do you think makes ISTE such a great conference to either present at or to attend?
I think for me, it's the same thing that makes any conference great, and that is the connections that are made. The content's good, but the problem is with something of this size and grandeur is you'll run into some sessions you're like, maybe this isn't for me. So I always tell people to vote with their feet. Like if you're there for 5 minutes, like not picking up on it, step out, go do something else. The presenters won't get offended. But then if you're in the middle and you're having a great conversation in a hallway with somebody, don't feel like you need to just cut it off to go run into a session about 50 AI tools or whatever. Stay and have that conversation, because I think here, what a think tank of people. You guys, everybody that's here, I'm always learning stuff. It's always in the side conversations, and unfortunately, I don't get to go to sessions enough. But for me, it's like the sessions are nice, and they're kind of the appetizer. But to me, the meat is the meeting, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Are there certain people that you look forward to connecting with when you're here every year?
Yeah. There's a crew that this sounds corny, but they're kind of like a family, if that makes sense. Like these jobs are sort of isolating when you're a tech director or whatever, and so being able to find certain people like Adam Bello, who I've known forever, he keynoted ISTE 2013. We just saw a video of that just recently because he had Google glasses. Do you remember when the Google glasses were a thing? And now it's
for sure.
What is it? All the Ray-Ban
the
meta things are everywhere. Anyway, it's funny. It's like you were just 13 years ahead of your time. Him, Dr. Adam File, who I do a podcast with. I just saw him a minute ago. It's funny because I'm pretty good at faces, but I have name blindness. So I always tell people, like, don't be offended. I'm like, hey, how's it going? David. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Jeremy. Okay, I remember Jeremy.
Can they make those names a little bit bigger sometimes?
I feel bad. That's why I just put Carl really big on the shirt, and people will be able to pick it up. But yeah. So those connections. To me, it's just that. And then again, it's funny because it's been a year since you've seen a lot of these people, but because we stay connected online, you're like, oh, how was that trip you went on last week? I was in Vegas 2 weeks ago playing the World Series of Poker. People are asking me about that, and I'm like, it didn't end well.
So don't ask.
Don't bring that up in the interview. Sorry, I brought it up, but
Sweep that done. But not everyone that attends, has been here several different times, obviously, and if you're a first-time attendee to this conference or any other large conference, what would you recommend for that first-time attendee to get the most out of the experience?
I think definitely set a bit of an agenda. Keep it like a skeleton. Don't be rigid about it, but find 2 or 3 sessions that just speak to you and scroll a little bit, because as I looked this morning for my session, the first 7 sessions, it's all alphabetized. So you can imagine what the first 7 sessions said, AI and this, AI and this. I was like, scroll a little ways until you find a session that you really speaks to you, or is it aligned with what you're working on or looking for. So definitely make a plan for 2 or 3 sessions. Don't overdo it. I feel like after 7 sessions, your brain is it's done. take breaks, take time for yourself. But then also when you go to the expo hall too, yes, there's the big amazing booth. Go to the fringes because there's some really cool little startup companies that are starting out there that maybe didn't have enough money to pay for the 30 by 30 booth. I just saw some really neat products in there, just some cool stuff that's happening with just AR, VR still and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I always tell people like definitely make time to go to the expo hall, but you have to kind of organize your day. And then at the end of it, I always say at the end of every day, take a minute to just kind of reflect. Write it down or in your head say, okay, a couple things I picked up today that I want to use in my classroom or in my school.
That reflection part of it immediately. If you don't do
yeah.
that, a couple weeks later, 2 months later, it's
Like, what happened?
Yeah, for sure.
So definitely, I have to write it down. But a lot of people do it in their head. I have to write it down.
Yeah, and about those small companies too. In fact, we went to an event last night that was at an establishment here in town, but it was
Former bar owner, did he mention?
yeah. How did that work out?
Sometimes
but that's what they did. It was an arcade event, they called it, and there was a lot of different
cool.
smaller ed tech companies that were there.
Just getting their foot in the ground.
Yeah, getting their foot in the ground, and it was really neat. I saw this one that had this laser engraver that was there that. You design it on the computer and then it just creates it right there for you on the spot. So I actually had them made a couple things for my kids, like keychains and things like that.
I've been wanting to get a tattoo. I wonder if they could just stick my arm in it.
Yeah, just burn it right into it.
Dungeon crawler, Carl.
Yeah,
It's funny because we used to do laser etching, but it was those giant machines are so expensive, and you had to vent it. Was there venting for this thing?
This thing was only about as large as, say, like a basketball, a football. And it had a little venting system that was attached to it.
But you didn't smell.
But just
it smells like burning wire.
No,
okay.
It didn't smell like that at all. It was really kind
I'll
of
have
neat.
to check them out. Are they a sponsor of this podcast?
No,
Not yet.
not yet. We didn't mention their name.
Yeah, that's true.
Sessions, though, you've got several things that you're here doing these next few days here. Can you kind of highlight some of the things that you going on or that you have going on?
For me, my big focus is obviously AI is a big thing. So what I'm trying to do is kind of go a little bit against the stream in some of it. So I'm really doing a lot of human design thinking, and AI of course plays a role in it. But I don't want to lead with that. So the one I just did this morning, which was in one of the big rooms up here, it was called Mind versus Machine, and essentially you're going to compete against AI in some cases, but you're also going to collaborate with it in others. So like one example was like, all right, work with a partner and just come up with a hook, like a question that's going to get kids thinking differently. It didn't be about anything. What would happen if the Earth ran out of oxygen? Just stuff like that, right? Well, we'd all be dead in 2 minutes. And then have AI come up with a list of hook questions and then look at the two and say like, okay, or add a little flair. Is there one that's pretty decent you could do a little spin on? So again, kind of modeling that idea of what AI can do and the human part of it. So really leading with creativity, innovation, iteration, and then connection, which again is what I talked about earlier. That's a big part of this conference, but having that human connection. One other one I do is fun is a brainstorm challenge where I'll say, like today's was, what are some ways that humans de-stress? List, right? You have 1 minute, you and a partner go, and you just come up with as many as you can. And I challenge them. I said, now before I do this, I'm going to ask AI to come up with stuff that you think AI won't come up with. So think creatively. And there was some stuff I can't put on air because humans do some crazy things to de-stress. I think one guy said something about if you're in Denver, go to this. I was like, no. I'm not going to go there. We're in Florida. We can't say that here. It was interesting. And then of course you show AI and then do the compare contrast. So little 1 minute, 2 minute activities like that, especially for students, shows them the limitations of it because it's very bland geographically. Like it kind of hits the center of everything. It's like, oh, here are all the things you can do, but there's no cultural representation in its answers. I did one that was like things you'd see at a barbecue cookout, and there's a group of people from South Texas in it, and they were like, mariachis and fajitas, but the AI just listed, you got to have a grill and you got to have propane, very much down the road. So it's good to show them that contrast. So most of my sessions focus on the humanistic side of things. I try to empower that as much as I can.
So I think that's really kind of unique in the fact that here are all these things that you can be using technology to help, challenge your thinking, improve your thinking, but yet we're also hearing backlash against screen times at the same time. Do you see those as being juxtaposed?
So yesterday I was on a panel, and that was the audience question that was crowdsourced at the end was like, what are your thoughts basically on that? And it's interesting because, there's a small school district called LAUSD.
Tiny.
Came out with their little screen time thing, and everyone's like, we should look at what LA did. And I was like, well, have you been familiar with what LA's done the last few decades? I don't know that I would follow what they do. Sorry if you're from LAUSD and listening to this, because they made some mistakes too. But I think the idea, their premise is, we're going to quantify this and say it's this many minutes, this many hours. Still missing the boat because it's not about the time, it's about how it's being used. And so one of the things I said in the panel yesterday is we have to kind of reframe some of the questions of like, is AI good or bad? Are screens good or bad? Instead, make it a little more broad or more nuanced, like what technology helps you learn, and when does it distract you from learning? Let's have that discussion. But unfortunately, it's like on or off, ban, not balance,
Black or white,
and
either or.
It's art. The last 10 years as a society, we've become so dichotomous, and it's. In one session I was in a couple days ago, I did a workshop with about 100 educators all day, and at one point there was a little bit of a difference of opinion, and people got kind of quiet, and I was like, listen guys, if we can't argue and have good discourse as educators, we're never going to move forward. And everyone kind of just took a breath, said, you're right. And I was like, let's recognize each other's viewpoints and then talk and challenge each other a little bit. That's how we get better.
Perfect. One final one, you're walking through the expo area. What kind of swag are you looking to pick up and bring home?
Well, over here I have a box that I saw someone walking by. So for those of you who don't know, Orlando in July is oppressively hot. If you can't tell from Jeremy's
A couple of
shorts
people
and
that
t-shirts.
sweat,
I'm sitting there wearing this. So this lady was walking by and she had a fan that was a USB powered fan that was hanging on her lanyard. And I was like, where's that? She's like, oh, if you go play Jenga. And I guess if you pull a block that has a number on it. So I was like, oh, please, I got it. So I have a little fan there. There's just always there's lots of cool things. I had some 3D glasses from the folks at Merge who are still doing a lot of great stuff. And I talked to them for a while. I have this weird thing that I do. I like to try to find free coffee wherever I go. So I found there's a place doing lattes and you just stand in line and they give you a little latte and you listen to their spiel for a minute. But I'm like, I love that idea of like bringing the experiences to the presenters and to the attendees too. I don't know if they'll do it here, but I know like at TCA and other conferences at around 3 o'clock, you might see some
Coffee and cookies come out.
happy hour,
Maybe
some beverages and stuff like that too. And I was like, I mean, the Declaration of Independence was written at a pub, so I mean, sure, things can happen. Yeah. Again, former bar owner. So.
Yes. Yeah. Well, Carl, it's been great to catch up with you here at the conference again. But can you just give us a little shout out about how people can find your stuff or any updates that you have that you think are worth sharing too?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, carlhooker.com is my website. Almost all my books are on there. I just published a 10th book a few months ago called Zengage, which was a response to the Anxious Generation, a book that by Jonathan Haidt that's kind of been weaponized as a screen time battle. So I'm doing my response book to it. I said yesterday to an audience, I was like, I've written 10 books, 9 of them I wanted to write. This one I felt like I needed to write because I was so upset with what the story that's being presented out there about technology in general. Not to defend it, because there's some bad technology too. So that's kind of been my mission lately. So a lot of my talks have been around that and kind of ironic. And AI folds into all that too, right? Just with everything else. So yeah, so check that out. I'm speaking at lots of conferences all over the country over the next, I'm going to TETC, which is in Tennessee, NICEgate in New York, Actum in Maine, MassQ this year is the first time I've ever been, Gillette Stadium. I wonder if they'll let me wear my Eagles gear there, but go Birds, we'll figure it out. But yeah, thank you guys for having me too, appreciate it.
Yeah, really appreciate it.
Awesome, thanks Jeremy.
Thanks.